always acts like he doesn't get the first question. You guys all sit there.
I'm waiting for these guys to get set up. Being polite.
What are they waiting for?
I don't know. Jim, throughout camp, you guys were very cautious with Alexander Smith. Is that going to continue this week? Do you know whether he's going to be able to go, or are you guys still holding him out?
Yeah, we got a number of guys who had been nicked up during camp. That's going to be game time decisions, Alex being one of them. So obviously we know we got a lot of football ahead of us. Certain injuries you don't want to set back, right? So I think there's a couple guys that are going to be kind of game time decision. Just they've missed a pretty significant portion of camp, and as they're working back in, we're going to try to be smart with them.
The inside linebacker spot, I know was a battle throughout, and who knows what the depth chart is, but what stood out about Jordan Turner and Muma to be the ones, I guess, at this point?
I mean, first off, that group, the competition was awesome, and I would say the growth from spring, especially the beginning of spring to the end of camp, really, really fun to watch that group grow and just battle each other every day. Kind of make it, take it. Whoever graded out best the day before, you're going with the ones. If you didn't, let's go take it back. And they really bought into that, and I think played off each other really well. And like I said, the competition was high every day. And to me, Jordan and Muma, just the consistency with what they did. They all made plays. They all had their moments where they played extremely physical and made plays out in space. And I think just the consistency overall in camp gave them a little bit of an edge, but all four of those guys are going to get significant snaps here the first couple weeks, and we'll kind of roll with the hot hand in certain situations. But really love the way that they competed and grew, like I said, from really the beginning of spring till now.
What did Cedric Dort show you as a slot corner? Was that in part of Justin's help? Or what's kind of the plan there and where Justin stands?
Yeah, well, we knew kind of coming out of the spring that it was a position we wanted to rep him and get him more comfortable in. He hadn't done it much in the past. We just thought technically it fit his skill set really well. And so we knew coming into camp it was gonna happen for him at times. And obviously with Justin being out for a significant stretch, he got a lot of reps in there. So excited. I think it gives us a ton of flexibility with the number of guys that we have that can play in the slot, that we can really help them in their matchups, kind of who they match up with well, and featuring them in different ways that maybe they haven't put on tape yet.
How'd that competition play out at cornerback? It seems like a lot of guys were getting quality reps there.
Yeah, a ton of guys. With the injuries, again, kind of had to mix and match at times, but that group was really fun and competitive as well. Very similar to the inside backers group, where they know there's significant roles open, and I thought the entire group kind of raised the level in the competition. And there's some situations where consistency, some of our zone concepts, I would say more so, there's some separation in guys, but we have a group that wants to go play man. They want to go challenge and be aggressive. So anytime you have that as a starting point, I feel really good as a coordinator, and we'll detail up the rest of it as we go.
Jim, has Rodas been more consistent, I mean, in terms of fundamentals and what you guys asked for him this camp than in previous years?
Absolutely. He's grown. He's a guy that's high energy, high motor, production, right? He's going to be productive because of how hard he plays. His only weakness is a little bit of the consistency and just sometimes not trying to do too much, right? Sometimes doing your job is all you need to do, and absolutely becoming so. I think it's exciting, and we just got to figure out the game planning and the game day, making sure we're all clean on it, because we haven't done that, haven't had that kind of flow of a game. You got it with when the fans were here, when we were trying to bounce back and forth, but obviously it's not game day.
It seemed like Darrell Peterson really pushed CJ Gaines. What was he able to do to hold him off that stuff right now?
Yeah, I think CJ is continuing to get more explosive, continuing to be more consistent in some of the coverage things. He's physical, he's downhill, he can get after the quarterback. So just a little bit of the space play where he's been up and down, and he's been continuing to improve. And DP, I think, it's hurt a little bit because we play him field and boundary. So he splits his reps, kind of job responsibilities within the same calls sometimes. But that tandem right there to the boundary for us is going to be huge. I think they're going to be able to go really hard and get on and off and split reps and hopefully just be consistently, aggressive and physical and get after the passer. So I think that's huge for us to have that duo to the boundary, and CJ's done enough to kind of hold DP off at this point. But once again, similar to a lot of positions, they're going to get a lot of snaps, and big moments. We're gonna ride the guy who's been hot and the most productive.
What do you think you have in the two guys behind him, and Caden and TJ? And do you have to have talks with those guys about? Obviously, they're talented enough to probably be playing, but given the depth you have at that position, is there any talks to have them stay patient throughout this season?
Yeah, I think that's where you rely on the groups a little bit and how competitive, how motivated they are. They know the standard of play, and obviously there's great players on the field. They want to get into that group, and Caden, for instance, and TJ, right? They're improving every day, every week. Go from spring to fall in what they're doing, and their time is coming, right? They're going to be on the field. They're going to be productive players for us. Sometimes when you have a guy like Nick come in day one and win a starting job, it feels like the next guy should do that. Well, that's not the norm, right? So the patience level, it's hard. These guys see young players playing sometimes and they get frustrated, but it's just trusting your process and trusting the work that you're putting in is going to put you in position when you're on the field to be ready for it. And I think we saw that at times last year when we get into certain games like Rutgers or games where we get up. Well, that group of guys goes on the field and they dominate. They go out there and they get after it and they're productive. And you look at that game just as one example, right, of what Jordan Turner did, right, what DP does, Trey Blaylock, like Ricardo Hallman making play down the field. Like, you just go down and down the list and you see the guys that they get in those moments, and it's not like, oh, well, let's see what they can do. They're out there dominating in those situations, and that's what we expect when they hit the field, whether it's in the first quarter or the fourth quarter.
Jim, whenever we talk to players in the offseason, especially like guys who are going to be going into their senior year, they talk about the importance of trying to win a Big Ten title because it's been a while. As a guy who played here and has coached here for some time now, is that ever on the forefront of your mind, the back of your mind, or how often do you think about that off-season, in-season, about trying to get to a title, the first one in a long time here?
I mean, to me, the older you get as a player, right, it's the urgency, right? As a young player, a lot of times it's like, how do I establish a role? How do I make my own name? How do I get on the field? And as you get older, you look outside of it a little bit more at the program, and what have we done? What has our class done? What is really that legacy of our class? And I think that's where it gets talked about a lot. I mean, the day-to-day work, you go win, right? You only get so many opportunities to play. You just go out there and try to play your best. We can't control what happens anywhere else in the conference. Who are we competing with? We don't know, right? Everybody at this point. So you got to trust the work you put in. Obviously, we've been close. We've been close. We've been in the Big Ten championship. Last year you're playing to get in the Big Ten championship game, and those are the games that keep you up at night. How do you finish off a big game? How do you finish off those crucial moments? And that's what I worry about. That's all I care about. And if we do the work the right way, you get one opportunity on Saturday to go get it done. And we got to go start in week one, and can't look ahead. You can't look past anybody.
What do you expect from Illinois State's offense based on what you've seen of them in the past?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a guessing game going in, right? With the new coordinator, somebody we've known, we've faced. So you kind of putting the pieces together. What fit from Illinois State to with what Illinois did. You're looking in a lot of different places right now. Probably over preparing for a number of things. So you're looking at a lot of different film from the coordinator, from the team, the skill, who's coming back, who transferred in, right? You kind of trying to piece the whole puzzle together, and there's elements where you just got to get your guys to trust, like, know your rules, know the calls, right? Be able to adjust to the unknown. That's always week one, and probably first and foremost is tackling, right? That's the biggest separator in some of these early games is the teams that tackle really well and don't give up explosive plays, usually have a lot of success. So we're focused on what we do know, right? We're prepping for probably a little bit more than normal, and really focusing on how we play and how we finish plays.
Are there a few true freshmen that have stood out that may be able to get on the field for you defensively this year?
Yeah, I think one true freshman that excites us just with his ability is Austin Brown on defense. Great size, great speed. Kind of look at him very similar to Hunter last year, where physically they're ready. They're ready to compete, and probably starting out more in that special teams role and learning the speed of the game. We have good depth at the position, and you just kind of roll from there. And just how comfortable can they hit their stride and get on the field defensively. He'd be a guy that I would anticipate seeing on the field in different situations, but I'd say that'd be the main one defensively. I'll let the offensive guys speak on their side, but he's a guy, I think, like you said, very similar to Hunter in the physical, makeup of what he is. And I would say Hunter hit his stride about midway last year, where he felt really, really comfortable in our defense, to where he trusted everything that we were doing and why we were doing it.
I was going to say, Jim, with Rodas and then James and Isaiah, 3 defensive ends, but behind them with the injuries to Isaac and then Mike Jarvis being out too, how are you feeling about those behind them, and do you feel like you have the depth at that position outside of those 3?
Yeah, I think we're a little bit uncomfortable with the depth when you lose some guys that you anticipated being contributors in those positions. We feel great about the top end of where we're at and the experience they have, and kind of the roles that you anticipate them filling. After that, there's a ton of competition. There's guys who flashed at times in camp, but the consistency is not at a level where you want that player playing 30, 40, 50 snaps. If they're in there rotationally and giving guys a blow, you feel good about it. And if they get out there too often, they have things that they would have to clean up for sure. So that's the fun part about college football, man. Faces change and guys develop at different rates, and when is that moment, and then it all clicks for them, and they take a huge stride. So excited for the work that they're putting in. Coach K's done an awesome job of getting that group where it currently is, and we're trying to build a little bit of flexibility with the nose position being able to bounce out to different spots as well. So I like where we're at. The injuries always take a toll on a group as they're continuing to grow.
Jim, you mentioned punt return earlier. That's a position or a unit that hasn't been super productive the last couple of years. What do you think needs to happen there to create some big plays in that spot?
Yeah, I mean, I think the aggression of it, the attitude of that, I think we were cautious at times last year, and there wasn't many opportunities. We faced some good punters. We faced some guys spraying the ball all over the place. So it was a little bit unique last year, but it's definitely an area of focus for us. How athletic can we get on the field, and, as far as the 11 on the field, and the mindset. So I think we do have some guys. Dean can be very dynamic back there. He's done a great job growing as a punt returner, just in his comfort, and hopefully we can find some green grass this year. I'm excited to be working with those returners a little bit more, and I think that it's been fun to watch in camp the competition, and feels a little bit different right now than it has. So I'm excited to get it to game day and see if we can find some space.
There's obviously been a high standard set on the defensive side of the ball, no matter who you guys seem to lose year in and year out. I'm curious in recruiting if you've found something in certain traits that seem to work for you, that guys are able to just step in and continue to hold that standard, even when as many as 8 starters are gone.
Yeah, I mean, we've found the magic of finding really good players that are fast and aggressive and violent on defense. So obviously success helps. When you're recruiting off of success, players see that, they feel it, the energy, the big plays, the consistency that we've had. It obviously helps when you're trying to pitch a recruit on why they should play in this defense. And to me, the number one thing we've created is flexibility. We can feature players on our defense, very similar to the way an offense thinks on, this is the play this guy needs to make. We want to allow players to be aggressive. We want to allow them to play to their skill sets. And when you start talking to recruits, that's not the case everywhere. The system is set some places. This is what we do. This is how we do it. This is the technique you're going to have. I think we take advantage of the knowledge we have as a coaching staff. Like, we can coach the individual. You don't have to do it the same as this guy. And allowing flexibility in their technique and kind of in how we attack, that's fun. I think as a defensive player, coordinator, I look at our system and go, every position, like, would I want to play that? You know, how can we help that out? Who has the toughest job? How can we make it a little bit easier for them? Can we take them out of conflict at times? And it's all about the intensity we play with, the physicality, and you know, if we're smart enough to be able to eliminate some issues that are going to come up from a game plan or from a technique that we're asked, then guys get a lot of confidence in what they do. So I'm excited about where we're at and the kids we're able to recruit, and you know, we don't have to settle. We don't feel like we have to settle for anybody right now. We're out there going after great players, and we're getting some good interest back.
Jim, when talking to guys about why the defense is going to remain elite, they often refer to that it's a Jim Leonhard defense. Just curious what your reaction is to comments like that from your guys.
Really quick, I'm gonna interrupt. This is gonna be the last question.
Yeah, that damn right, it's the last question. I mean, I haven't played a snap since I've been back. Obviously, I take a lot of feedback. I feel like I am more flexible than most coaches, which I think helps. But it's getting guys to buy in to what you do, why you do it. You know, I show our guys almost weekly in the off season, or daily sometimes for these guys. This defense is being run all around the country and get gashed. Like, it's the details of it. It's how we execute. You know, we build in some things to help them out, but there's no magic in the calls. Hopefully I can eliminate them from being in bad situations. That's the number one thing I try to do week in and week out, and put it in their hands. You know, we got great kids. We got competitive, talented guys. If we can put it in their hands to get it done every week and keep them out of bad situations, then I feel like I've done my job.